They see that I'm by myself, and I've gotten everything from, is this your boat? Or, hey, your boyfriend's got a nice boat. And I'm looking around. I'm like, what boyfriend? This is my boat.
Did good in the divorce?
Yeah.
I've heard that one before too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Welcome back to Current Conversations. If you joined us for part 1 of our boat ramp etiquette series, thanks for coming back. I'm Courtney and Renee is back with me as we continue breaking down the unspoken rules of the boat ramp, sharing some practical tips, and hopefully helping you avoid some little dockside drama. Before we jump in, make sure you like and subscribe to Current Conversations so you never miss an episode. And while you're here, comment below and tell us, what's the craziest thing you've seen at the boat ramp? We want to hear it. All right, let's jump into part 2.
Yeah.
I've taken my boat out by myself. I've had people, they see I'm a female, they see that I'm by myself, and I've gotten everything from, is this your boat? Or, hey, your boyfriend's got a nice boat. And I'm looking around. I'm like, what boyfriend? This is my boat.
Did good in the divorce?
Yeah.
I've heard that one before too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I've come in and I've docked, tied my boat up, and then people are like, well, now how are you going to get it out? And I said, oh, I got a truck and trailer up there I'm going to go get. And they're like, you're going to back it down? And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, it's my boat. I sure hope I can back it down. Like,
yeah, seriously.
If I can't back it up, I have no business driving this thing forward.
Yeah.
Like, and people were like stunned. And these particular people were because they were like, well, I could never. And I'm like, well, you could if you put the time and effort into learning. I'm like, look, I didn't learn overnight. Like, it took practice.
Yeah.
But, and then I also have had people that did try it, did offer help. Gingerly, I was backing in, I was by myself, and I took my lines and tied them to the dock and then backed in the rest of the way. And there was 2 gentlemen. They're like, hey, we see you by yourself and we see you, looks like you got it handled, but would you like some help, just to make it a little bit easier? And I was like, sure, that'd be great. So like they said, you clearly have done this, but they're like, would you like us to help you, save you a little bit of time? And I was like, sure. Cool. So that was really nice.
That is really nice of them.
And I think it's all about the approach and, how you offer it will determine if somebody accepts the help or not. Cause like you said, if you see them try the maneuver a couple of times, especially if they try it the same way and it's not working, then it's like, okay, like, let me kind of see if I can offer some help. I walked up on a woman a couple weeks ago. It was her and her husband. They were putting in their boat at the boat ramp because they wanted to put their boat on their lift for the summer. She was already freaking out and she hadn't even touched the line on the boat. And I was like, I just happened to be walking by and I was like, are you okay? She already had her life jacket on and everything. And she said, I just don't do well at the boat ramp. And I said, it's okay. I said, there's plenty of help here. There was 2 people from the marina and I had walked by and I said, what can I do to help? I'm like, what can I do? Like, I can help, like, just stay calm.
Yeah, I'm here.
That's
let
number
me,
one.
Another body.
Yeah.
Let me to use.
Yeah. And, so she just told me, like, I just do what he tells me to do, and which was fine. And I understood that. And I think he just kind of made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be, but that was his routine. So once, we got it in and everything was fine, she's like, thank you, everybody. And so she was grateful, and they've been boating for years, but she just doesn't like that putting in and taking out at the ramp aspect of it. Which I get, it just stresses her out.
Yeah, it's funny because even like I boat for 7 months and I'm off for, the 4 or 5 months not launching the boat, and it's the first time launching back at it. It's like, okay, like, that little short amount of time, you forget all of the routine and you're like, okay, let me get back into this. So
yeah,
I could for them, that first launch.
Right, exactly. Have you ever had somebody save the day for you at the ramp?
So one time I was in the marina waiting for the truck and trailer, and my 10-pound chihuahua decided to just Superman off the boat into the water. Like, oh my God. And so he's like swimming, and he swims up to this lady that's standing at the dock, and she goes and grabs him and picks him up, but then she sets him down, but it's like triple digits. And I'm like, can you pick him up? It's hot on his feet, please. And I'm just like, this was in the beginning of my boating career, so I'm just stressed. And the dog also is not friendly. So I'm just like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't bite this lady, but I don't want him to drown. I don't want his feet to burn. You're just going through this whole cycle. Your brain is not, at that point, you're just not thinking. So I ended up, had someone, help me to get closer to get the dog back. But that was probably one of the biggest challenging days that I had trying to, maneuver the boat and getting the dog. And yeah, I just lost it that day, basically. Everything went out. Everything, all the calmness, everything went out the window. Yeah.
I probably would have too. We had been rescued kind of in a different way. We had went down south and we blew an outdrive like we had done before. So we made a phone call. We had a buddy that was bringing our truck and trailer down. Well, we were on our way to get lunch. Well, we had never made it to lunch. So here it's like 3:00 in the afternoon that we're waiting for our trailer. It may not have been that late, but it was probably at least like 1, 2 o'clock. And we hadn't had anything to eat. So we had another friend that lived down there. She went and got takeout food for us and met us at the ramp and brought us takeout and sat with us until our truck and trailer showed up.
That's so nice.
So I thought she definitely saved the day for us.
Yeah.
While we were waiting for our truck and trailer.
So now oh, good.
I was going to say, she actually saved the day twice.
Yeah.
Another day I had a blown out flip flop and I broke my flip flop somehow on the way. When we were putting the boat in on the way to meeting her.
Yeah.
So she stopped at Old Navy and picked up like $1.50 pair of flip flops for me.
There you go. Have you seen the little bread tab trick where you take the little clip from the bread tab and you put it on the bottom of your flip flop? If it's like those traditional ones that go in between your toes.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Helps. Yeah.
I never saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good hack that I've heard.
That is a good one.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so then when you broke down without food, then the importance is always carry boat snacks, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I always do carry water. That's my big thing. No matter if you're only planning for like 15 minutes to go to a restaurant or whatever. I am always have to have water on board because heaven forbid you break down. It's hot. I'm always drinking water throughout the day just because I get dehydrated pretty easily. And there was actually a funny story a couple weeks ago. I was paintballing during the day and then I was meeting my dad at the marina and I had run out of my water. So I'm on the way to the marina and I said, I hope you remembered to pack water. And he calls me. He was like, I didn't pack a cooler because we're only going to the inn. And I'm like, what is the number one rule for the boat?
Yeah, what the heck, Dad?
I was like, you dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I don't think he'll ever forget the cooler with at least a couple bottles of water.
Yeah, it's so important. You have to.
It is. So that's my story on, getting saved in different ways, but it's still all, revolves around boating.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have to add snacks to the list now. Even if they're
I'm
just
all about
protein.
Yeah, I'm all about car snacks now. I'm like, I need car snacks. You never know. Like, you get hungry randomly and try to eat good. And it's like the convenience of a drive-through, like fast food. It's convenient, but it's sometimes not the healthiest when you can.
It's not. And I don't like fast food.
Yeah, me either. It's not good anymore.
It's not. Well, it never was. I was never big on fast food. But the only thing I'll really eat fast food is like a grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A or a chicken cordon bleu from Arby's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just not a fast food person.
Yeah, me either.
But I hear you. So I have another little game.
Ooh! What you got?
Which is harder?
Which is harder? Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 little things. You tell me which one's harder. Launching with a strong current or launching in heavy wind?
Definitely. I've never launched in a current, but I would imagine the current over the wind, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
But what
I
says
think
you?
well, like you said, launching in a strong current would definitely be challenging,
Yes.
but depending on how heavy the wind is, I
And
feel like you just
also,
never win with
what
wind.
type of boat?
Well, I was gonna say, that's the other thing. If
Huh?
you're launching something with a fly bridge, that wind
Mhm. That's the challenging thing for me with the pontoon boat is the wind. Those things are giant sails and they don't
right.
have wheels on the bottom. It's just those
Mhm.
pontoons. So as soon as you pull it out of gear, that thing's just going wherever.
Right.
So
And with
it's a
the center
struggle.
console,
Mhm.
that thing can be a kite too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, with the center console. I haven't been on one yet. Yeah.
You
That's
haven't?
no.
Okay.
Surprisingly not on the water.
How long have you been boating?
I've been boating for about 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I didn't my family didn't really grow up with it. I just kind of got into it as I was getting older. And then when I met
okay.
my husband, we were big into it. We love the water and
Well,
being
yeah,
out
I feel like there's nothing that compares to it.
there. Not at all. We were doing
Yeah.
both the desert, off-roading and the river, and we decided to choose one and it's like you can't take the water away from me.
No, I
I don't want
know.
to play in a sandbox.
No,
It's too dusty and gross.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So which is harder, docking with tides or docking with gusty desert winds?
I would imagine the winds
I think
because
so.
aren't the tides pretty regulated at that
Yeah.
point in time
Mhm.
for the most part, I guess?
And again, you can look up the tide on the tide chart
Uh,
and plan around that. Kind of hard to plan around the wind
yeah, it
when it's
is.
unpredictable.
Yes.
So which is harder, crowded holiday ramps or unfamiliar ramps?
Ooh, that's tough. I would say the crowded holiday ramps, in my opinion, because you don't know who's operating the other vessel and if they're going to know what they're doing and know how to maneuver. It is daunting to go to a new launch ramp, but my thing
Very.
is I get out of the car and I go walk over there and evaluate what's going on.
Right.
There was a point when one of the new launch ramps that I was at recently where I got close to it and it was hard to tell if I was getting close to my side. So I just jumped out and took a look to make sure we're got my headspace right and jumped back in and I was good. So I feel like you can control that for the most part. You can't control other people on the crazy holiday weekends.
Right. I agree. I would say the crowded holiday ramps as well because the unfamiliar ramps with technology these days, you can get on Google Earth and you can do some research before you go there if it's a ramp you
Yeah.
haven't been there before. And then obviously when you get there, like you said, you can park, get out of your car, walk over, kind of see what the flow is.
Yeah.
See some ramps have an in and an out. Some put, both in during the morning and then wait and then, then have one in and out. Like you can just kind of get a feel for that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I would definitely say the crowded holiday ramp just because there's some boaters that only boat on the major holiday weekends,
Yeah.
which brings out people that don't exactly know what they're doing or they're like bull in a china closet and they're just 90 miles an hour, but they take forever. And it's just, hey,
Yeah.
like, calm down. We all want to get out
Exactly.
here. We all want to get out there, but it's like, we all want to get out there safely and come back safely.
Exactly.
So yeah. And then which is harder, saltwater maintenance or the desert heat?
Probably the saltwater maintenance because you got to make sure you do from my experience doing ocean boating, salt away after you get the boat out and wiping down everything. Yeah. And even
Yeah,
the
I
car.
agree. I know with the Sonic, we would fire up and use that salt away every
Mhm.
single time when we got back.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot of upkeep for salt water just because
Mhm.
that it eats away at everything.
Yeah. Even at the beaches, if you live in a beach town, your car is guaranteed to get rust on it just from the air.
Right.
I mean, even I work and I do interior design, but we do custom window treatments. But even and I didn't know this, the rods that you hang up on your walls, they get rusted from the beach air. So it's just amazing at how, it's just crazy how the salt can just destroy everything.
Yeah.
And you're not in the water. So imagining your boat actually baking in the salt water, yeah, it's definitely not good.
Yeah. Wow.
Out of all the stories,
yeah,
this was funny, but it also could have went really bad. This group of people on a holiday weekend were pulling their boat out of the launch ramp, and there was people hanging out on the back of the boat, kind of sitting outside of the boat. So when the car takes off, gets up to the top of the launch ramp, this guy falls out of the boat and does like this barrel roll out onto the ground, and the trailer tire ran him over at the same time. And it was fast, and everybody just stopped and was like, oh my God, this guy just got ran over. And the guy just jumped up and he just popped back in the bed of the truck, and they took off and went. And everyone was just like, my goodness. So while it was very dangerous, the guy was okay in the end. It was just funny because it was like, look at this shit show. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness he was okay, but
yeah, that could have gone really bad. But the way that he just fell right out of the boat, ran him over. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
I have a funny story that it happened years and years ago.
Yeah.
So we had a routine that we got back, we tied up to the dock, and while my dad would go get the truck and trailer, I would pull anything out of the cabin and set it on the back seat that needed to go with us in the truck. So I would cover up the GPS, pull out the cooler, pull out, any boat bags, whatever. So I had my like little routine down. So as I'm doing that, the boat that was on the dock in front of us was getting, going to be doing their thing and pulling the boat out. So the guy backs down the boat ramp, and I saw that there was a female sitting in the boat, and she's playing on her phone. Well, the boat's tied to the dock, and the guy backed the boat down, and I was already done what I needed to do. So I'm just standing there kind of watching. She's playing on her phone. I hear the click to the bow eye on the boat, and I'm thinking, he didn't untie the boat yet. He didn't walk the boat up. So I'm like, oh, maybe he knows something I don't.
Yeah.
So he starts winching, and he's winching, and then he's cussing, and he's hollering. And I'm looking at this girl. She's still playing on her phone. She ain't get out of the boat. She looks over. He's hollering. He's screaming. He's cussing. He's still trying to winch. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, what's happening right now?
So he starts hollering and cussing again for the third time. She looks over the side of the boat and looks at the lines, and she goes, when you going to untie these lines?
Oh my God.
I thought he was going to blow a gasket.
Yeah.
He starts yelling at her, all this time I've been trying to winch this effing boat, and you never untied the boat from the dock?
Yeah, that's bad.
And she says, you didn't tell me to.
Ooh.
And I thought, my gosh. But here she's playing on her phone, not paying attention to him. And I'm thinking, okay, well, is it his fault because he didn't tell her to, or is it her fault because she's not paying attention? And this is where it all comes back to communication.
Communication. Yeah, 100%. Wow.
And here he was trying to win. And I'm thinking, how tight did that strap get? And now I'm like, he's going to have to undo that to get the freaking dock lines off the boat. And he didn't, because he came back and he's like, I can't get these freaking lines undone. And I said, you're going to have to loosen your winch strap. Because now you've tightened those dock lines so tight, you're never going to get them undone.
Man,
he was so hot.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there it's free entertainment. I wish I had popcorn to sit back and eat.
Yeah. And it is sad when you see couples and they're not, on the same team. It's like, well, you can make life so much easier if you just work together for both of you.
100%. I mean, I see this marina that we have. There was a guy, he would come in all the time and no lines, no fenders. And he gets in and there's a girl in the back seat, just sits there looking around. And the guy comes in, and this one day it was windy. I mean, he backed it in perfectly, but there was wind. So it caught his bow, and the dock hands couldn't do anything for him because he had no lines.
Ugh.
And I'm like, you have a passenger on the boat. What is everybody up on land watching him is like, well, what the hell is she doing? Why is she sitting there? And I'm like, well, you don't know. He may have told her just sit there.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm like, you never know. And that's like where some of my thing is any like women that I know, I'm like, well, what are you told to do? Are you told to just sit there? Are you told to grab lines? Like, do they teach you? Like, what? Like, that's where I try to gain knowledge. I'm like, because any boat that I step on, as soon as we hit the no wake zone, I'm like, where do you keep your lines? Where do you keep your fenders? I don't care if we have a 20-minute idle. I'm getting them out and putting them there because the last thing that I want is everybody running around on the boat, getting in everybody's way when we need to throw fenders and lines out.
Any way to avoid stress ahead of time. It's smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put a line and a fender at the up front or pretty much at the spring, and then a line and a fender at the aft, just so they're there. And then when you know port or starboard, then you can adjust.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
And I can't tell you how many times I've had the captain of the boat say, man, she's a great dockhand or a deckhand. And I'm like, I just like to be prepared. I don't like people running around, freaking out, yelling, screaming. So it's all about being prepared and ready.
Yeah. And because, I don't want that stress. And we know what it takes to avoid that because it's an avoidable situation.
Yeah. And even when I'm by myself, like I will never go in to that area before I have any lines or fenders. Like I will always stop way out beforehand, put it in neutral, set my lines and fenders out, and then proceed in. And then I'm good.
You have to be able to, pay attention. You can't be, trying to do that while you're operating a vessel. That's very smart.
Because that can get tricky, especially when you're by yourself. You're coming in and then you need to be able to quickly throw a line to somebody or put it in neutral, hop out and grab your line. So it's just amazing that you see people come in with no lines, no fenders, and they're trying to dock. And then it's like they want somebody to help them. And it's like, well, how can I help you if you don't even have a line to throw to me? Yeah. Or they'll throw you a dock line, but the other end's not attached to the boat. Yeah. I love that one.
You're figure it out. You're like, what?
They'll throw it to me and then they're holding the bitter end. And I'm like, well, I'm pulling you, not the boat. Like, what?
Yeah, I've seen that so many times. You're like, what are you doing?
I'm like, if you attach it to the boat, I can help you.
Yeah, I saw that too at one of the floating bars. The kid was standing on the dock and he's like holding it, trying to pull the boat. And it's like, just put it on the cleat, bro. That'll help you so much. It's right there below you. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is. You could have stories for days.
For days. It really is great. A quick thank you to today's sponsor, She Drives. If you're a woman who's always wanted to feel more confident at the helm, She Drives is an incredible community with boating education, support, and on-the-water training from female captains. I'll leave the link in the comments below so you can check it out. So, lightning round for this or that. I'm just going to shoot off literally two things. You tell me one or the other. Okay. Wind or current?
Current.
Freshwater or saltwater?
Fresh.
Desert or ocean?
Ooh, ocean because of water. One. Yeah.
Okay. Sunrise launch or sunset cruise?
Ooh, sunset cruise. Something watching the sunset.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person.
Yeah. Anchor or dock?
Dock.
I would expected you to say anchor. Okay.
Yeah.
Quiet cove or party cove?
Quiet cove.
I'm with you there. Solo launch or with a crew?
That's a tough one. Crew?
And I'll give you solo launch could mean just you and like your husband, just you and one other person.
Sometimes it's nice because you guys know the program and you don't have to delegate to people. But we had a holiday weekend where we had another couple with us and their daughters. And it was nice having another guy handy. He was really good at the trucker knots.
Okay.
Had to tie one of our, we beached somewhere and then we tied the boat up around like this tree. It's the way that the floating bar is on the beach right there. But he was a trucker knotting it and it was very helpful. So I remember going, man, he made life a lot easier this trip. Wasn't running around as much. So depending on who the person is, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And your favorite ramp snack? It could be your favorite boat snack.
Favorite boat snack would have to be, I like a good, some salsa probably would be a good boat snack. Like, but it'd
That
have
is
to
a good
be,
one.
yeah, where you're obviously still, because salsa can be messy, but that's refreshing, you know?
Exactly. And I know, there's a lot of rules. That can be another segment on a podcast. There can
Yeah.
be rules on what snacks you can and can't take out on a boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just kind of like
And
the no
liquid.
red wine rule.
Yeah. So true.
Although we had friends years ago that we hung out, they had, I swear, like a case of red wine on their boat at all times because that's all his
Really?
wife drank was red wine.
Oh,
She made her own wine. And I'm like,
okay.
it's her boat. She can do what she wants. Like
Yeah.
she makes it and that's what she drinks. And she didn't drink it out of a wine glass. She drank it out of like a plastic cup. And I'm like, she's not going to be the one spilling wine on the boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and if she did, like she's the one cleaning it, but she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be the one to spill it.
Yeah.
But all right. So our last little segment is for new boaters. So what are 3 things every new boater should know before going to a public boat?
So 3 things I would say is when you're pulling up to the boat ramp, be aware of your surroundings.
That's
Something
huge.
that's easy when you're pulling in, make an intentional wide turn, try to get your trailer as straight as you can. So when you back up, it's easier. Pay attention to the wind, the currents, the crowds around you. I think that's like one as a whole. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, that would be my that would be my 3 tips.
Okay. I call the one just situational awareness.
Yes.
Just be mindful of the entire boat ramp as a whole and where you're parking and what you're blocking or not blocking.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
definitely would call that
That
situational awareness.
even, the other day I was backing up and next to me there were people getting ready to get in their boat and there's kids running around. And so as I'm backing up, I'm noticing this kid's kind of walking near, my moving vehicle and boat. So
Yeah.
I had to, keep my head on a swivel to watch out because I get it. Parents are trying to unpack, load, and the last thing you want to do is run somebody over. So
Right.
it's always important.
Yeah. And with, these backup cameras on vehicles and the little backup beeps and stuff, I know from mine, I have to turn off that park sense when I have a trailer behind me because
Yeah.
otherwise it would just be a solid beep with my trailer behind me. So, and then of course, visibility is that much more limited with a boat and trailer behind you. So these families need to tell kids they need to be, heads on a swivel. And if you see a boat backing up, chances are they can't see you. You can see them, but we might not be able to see you. So
Exactly.
never walk behind them, walk in front of them. But I mean, I know that parents aren't always teaching their kids these things because I don't think that they're thinking of them.
Yeah.
But I try to always, especially if they're guests, guests on boats, they're not the boater, they're just the guest. And I feel like if you're going to be a guest on somebody's boat, it's the family that owns the boat's responsibility to kind of go over the rules. And it's like, okay,
Absolutely.
well, you might think it's silly, but it could literally save a life. Like I know if anytime I have somebody new on my boat or my dad's boat, first thing I do is go over where the life jacket is, where the throwable is. If at any time you feel unsafe or scared, let myself or my dad, let somebody know.
Yeah.
So it's just, and people, they always thank me. They're like, especially if it's someone that hasn't been on like a performance boat before.
Yeah.
They might, because they've been on cruisers or pontoons, but performance boat is a whole nother world of boating. So I always want people to enjoy it as much as I do and feel comfortable. That's the biggest thing. You don't want somebody to be out there scared for their life or not feel comfortable out on the water because that's not going to be fun for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a really enjoyable and safe time if everybody's on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So how do you think women can build confidence at the boat ramp? I, for one thing, would say, because this is how I gained confidence. When I wanted to learn to back up a trailer, my dad tried to teach me and that didn't work because he was on the outside of the truck looking and he was trying to tell me, and every everything I thought I was doing right, he would say, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, what? Well, it's
Yeah.
because he couldn't tell me the correct way. He was telling me
Yeah.
wrong and I was in fact right. So I ditched him and I went to the boat ramp during the week by myself and I went out to the empty parking lot and I picked a straight line or what I felt
Yeah.
was mostly straight.
Yeah.
And I pulled up and just tried to back it up as straight as I could. And I would pull up and back it straight, pull. And I did that several times because the trailer's going to walk. And once I felt like I could get that trailer to back up straight, then I would pull around and try to back it down the ramp. And
Nice.
I did that probably a couple of times. And that is what made me feel confident because there was no stress with people at the ramp. Like, oh my God, we got to get in. We got to get in. We got to get in. I was just doing it to practice. And that's what helped me build the confidence.
That's awesome. And I think that's really big. And a lot of people, I know people are busy and don't have time, but it's very, very important to just take the time and practice and get
Mm-hmm.
repetition in because that's the only way that you're ever going to learn. And
Yeah.
it is stressful and can be stressful in certain situations. And that's the whole thing of there's the action of backing up your boat trailer, but there's also just the whole mindset to it. You get that one inkling of a little bit of anxiety, you're just screwed up and you mess up. So going into it and just, try to stay calm. My thing is take a deep breath. Here we go. We're going to do this, go slow. If you have to pull forward and start over, that's fine. But at the end of the day, just practice is all you can do to get better. And
Yeah.
then
And
that
I
builds
even had started with back when he had the Sonic before I had my boat. If we were at a boat ramp and the other boats in front of us had moved up, I would jump in his truck and just pull it up. Like, so I was getting used to at least like pulling up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I got the feeling of what it was like to pull a trailer up with weight on it.
Yeah.
So I felt like, okay, well, then once I started trailering mine and taking it over to the boat ramp, like I had at least I knew what it felt like a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely just going over there when there was nobody around definitely helped. That way, okay,
Yeah.
well, when there were people around, I'm like, I've got this. Like,
Yeah.
I
Because you know
already
what to expect.
right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And then
Yeah.
especially because then I would challenge myself. There was a couple parking spots over at this one ramp that if you pulled into, there was a dumpster right next to it because it was construction. Well, it was kind
Okay.
of tricky to get out of. So I was like, oh, I'll park here. And I'm like, it might be a little tricky to get out of. And I was like, I've got that. So I
Yeah.
did. And, and it was a confidence boost just to do that. Cause then it's
Heck
like,
yeah.
all right, well, what's the next thing I can do to try to get myself out of?
Yeah, and it's good because you never know what kind of situation you're gonna be in parking to where, that could happen. So why
Right.
not try to
Or if
figure
someone
it.
like halfway blocks you in and you got to
Yeah.
keep adjusting to getting out.
I had that happen to me last summer where I could barely pull out because this guy's trailer was too long. He shouldn't have been in the parking spots. He should have been at this other area. And so
Hmm.
my car turns really well and I was just finally I was backing up and doing the maneuver back and forth, but they had the people that worked at the marina, they were coming by and I'm like, "Hey, can you, spot me?" Because I was having to get out of my car 20 times because backing it up, there was a blind spot and I don't want to hit the car behind me. So, and then that was just like, "Hey, I'm not afraid to ask. I'm struggling right now, but it was because that guy was illegally parked and I was in a little bit of a pickle.
Right.
And another thing too is I feel like everybody that learns has to figure out their method. As much as somebody teaches you, like your example about your dad,
Hmm.
I had someone teach me in the beginning, put your hand at the bottom of the wheel and then,
Yes.
learn to turn that way. My brain was just not picking that up. It was more confusing for me.
Okay.
And then one day I had my friend in the passenger seat and I was backing up and he started, telling me every time the boat was in that side mirror, he was telling me to turn that way. And finally I looked at him, I said, "Wait, so you're telling me every time the boat's in that mirror, I turn the wheel that way?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then it just clicked. And then
Uh,
that's where like all of a sudden I could back it up perfectly. But, we all have our different ways of doing it and we have to figure it out.
right. And I have a friend, he grew up in his grandfather's tractors backing trailers up where he always turned and looked because he was, he wasn't doing it through a window or mirrors. And to this day, he still backs his boat up by turning around. He's like, I can't do it in mirrors. And I was like, I never even thought of that. I was like, that's so wild where I use I started out, now I just do it without even thinking. I started out with my hand at the bottom, turning it whichever way I wanted the trailer to go.
Yeah.
But now I end up my hands at the top of the wheel and I'm just doing whatever way.
Yeah. I know it's so weird how all of a sudden it clicks and you just know what to
and then
do.
next thing you know, you're not even thinking about it. You're just looking and seeing where you need to go.
It's so true. I mean, I still right at the beginning when I go to backup, I have to reset my brain and go, okay, here we go. You're in backup mode. Because it can be like, wait, I turned the wrong way. And then all of a sudden it's just smooth sailing.
Yeah. And I will admit, I do have a tendency to turn the wheel too much. Like I don't allow the trailer to react. So I have a tendency to overturn sometimes, which that is something I keep trying to work on. So, which obviously the longer the trailer, the better I do. But mine, it's just so short. I probably would do terrible with a jet ski. I'd be like all over the ramp.
Yeah, it's so true. Those little like single axle trailers. I had to back one up recently, and it was just like a utility trailer, but it was a little bit of a struggle. But I was like, I gotta learn.
I always tell people, like if you can back a jet ski up, then you're golden. Like you can back anything up because it gets easier the bigger the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one time I was at the launch ramp in San Diego, and all of a sudden you hear this lady and she's behind the vehicle, bent down, holding the rail of it was like a jet ski trailer. And she's like, okay, keep coming. And the husband was just like inching it. And she was trying to keep it straight for him. It was like kind of sad because it was like embarrassing, but they were trying to figure it out and they were obviously struggling. And I was younger back then. So you're laughing like, oh my God, look at these people, like get it together. Right. But now thinking about it and knowing your knowledge, you're like, hey, they were just trying to do what they could do to get their jet ski back on the trailer,
Right.
It was a little different of a message.
I did see somebody one time, they backed up and they just couldn't get the jet ski trailer straight. So he literally had his buddy pick the trailer up and drop it. And I'm like,
seen that too.
I was like, is this where we're at? Like, I was like, bro, I said, come on, you didn't even try. He said, I have, just not today. He said, I ain't getting it. He goes, I don't want to hold anybody up.
Poor guy.
I was like, okay. I said, I respect that.
Yeah.
He said, there's too many people here. He said, I'm not holding anybody up. I said, all right, well, fair enough.
He knew his limits. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. He was like, nope, I'm not holding anybody up. I was like, all right. But I was like, I said, you got to get it together for next time.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you can do this like one time, maybe two, but come on, dude, you got to learn.
I know. I was like, man, if I see him do that again, I was like, I'm going to be like, I'll do it for you.
It's funny.
Yeah. Well, in closing out, I have 2 questions for you that I want to ask all of our guests. And the first one being is, if you could make every boater follow one boat ramp rule, what would that be?
Following one boat ramp rule would be just be prepared as much as you can and be mindful of others and help if you can. If you see someone struggling, I think it would make a better experience for everybody at the launch ramp to work together.
And just have common courtesy. Just be nice. Everybody is there for the same reason, to get on the water and enjoy their day. I hate to see fights breaking out and screaming and yelling. I'm like, that's just not a good day for anybody.
Yeah, 100%.
And last but not least, this is a favorite question of mine. If you could boat anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go?
Anywhere in the world. I'm into sailing, and I've done the British Virgin Islands, and I want to go explore a little bit of Europe and particularly Greece, Mediterranean. I would love to go and do a little bit of a sailing adventure. I think would be one of my next things.
That would be very cool. I'm a
Mhm.
little jealous that you've been to the British Virgin Islands because
Yeah.
that is on my bucket list.
It's cool. You got to do it. It
Yeah.
was so I've never stayed on a boat multiple days, and it was a 9-day trip, and I get seasick. And so it was like, okay, this is either going to be a really good trip or, a little
Yeah.
froggy. But they have the patches that help. But it was the most amazing time I ever had.
Was it a
So,
sailboat that you stayed on?
yeah, it was a catamaran,
Okay.
but it
That's
was
amazing.
each day you go to each island. And the thing that we did was we would do one night on a mooring ball, the next night at a marina. So you could at least get off the boat and walk around. I mean, it was
Right.
fun when you're on the mooring ball because you take the dinghy out to dinner and things like
Yeah.
that. It was a little adventure. Trying to find your boat at night's kind of fun with the flashlight. There's like all these sailboats that look the same. But
Yeah.
it was cool. You definitely should plan a trip.
Yeah. It's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite waterway that you could do?
So definitely BVI, but I also would love to go to the Maldives.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of how beautiful it is. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I just think that like the pictures I've seen, nothing compares. The trip to get over there is another story. It's a long travel to get over there. I think I would have to spring for first class so I could like have the lay down bed.
Isn't that true? You know your limits. You're like, yeah, I'll save up for first class. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That would definitely have to happen. But there and definitely like the Mediterranean, that would be cool. Ibiza, like that's on the
Yeah.
list for sure.
Nice.
So yeah, those are all on my list. Whether or not
Yeah.
I'll make it, I don't know, but it's
I
definitely the
know.
goal.
Right? It's a good goal to have.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Current Conversations. A big thank you to our guest, Renee Toff, for joining us and sharing her experience and insights on boat ramp etiquette. Whether you're launching on Lake Havasu, the Chesapeake, or at your local marina, the little preparation and courtesy go a long way towards making the ramp safer and less stressful for everyone. If there's one thing to remember from today's conversation, it's this. Confident boaters aren't rushed boaters. Take your time, be prepared before you reach the ramp, and don't be afraid to offer or accept a helping hand. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow boater. You can also follow Current Conversations on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Current Conversations Pod for boating tips, episode updates, and behind-the-scene content. Until next time, stay safe, stay confident, and I hope to see you on the water. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you so much, Courtney. It was a pleasure to do this podcast with you.